Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of America with a French accent. Breaking news today, just 32 days before Election Day. As you probably know already, Donald Trump has been tested positive to COVID-19. I will take this opportunity to discuss potential outcomes if a candidate is incapacitated or dies during this electoral process. My name is David Benaim, and I'm coming to you via HAPS Journalism cross platforms on all your major social networks, all at the same time. News regarding Trump's positive test to COVID have been pouring all day, and it's all the noise and speculation that needs to be addressed around this October surprise that is more likely a thunderstorm than an usual surprise. A lot have been happening since the announcement. Two planes, Mercury E-6B, called Doomsday Plane, with nuclear capacity, have been flying on both US coast. There is a lot of interrogations whether this is normal protocol when a president is in potential danger to avoid a trigger that would incapacitate the president, or if they are just routine flights. Some observers asserted that the two things were related. Others, including military spokespeople, claim that it was a coincidence. Either way, the presidential infection is a thunderstorm for the campaigns. I won't go into all the conspiration theories at all, actually. I obviously wish well to the president and the first lady, but there is a lot of implication that should be addressed, and a lot of questions have been getting regarding different scenarios since we are only 32 days until Election Day. Most questions are constitutional questions. What happens if a candidate dies before, after the election, or before the inauguration? I'm going to try to respond to these interrogations and the different scenarios. In the first scenario, before November 3rd, before Americans cast their vote, before the Americans cast their vote on the official election day, the RNC, the Republican National Convention, would have the power to replace the party's nominee for president. The RNC or the DNC, in case it's Biden that's incapacitated. The Republican National Convention has 168 members, 3 from each state, plus 3 from 6 territories would have to vote to designate their candidate. It's a bit complicated, but they would have to find a candidate fairly early before the election day to be able to put the name on the ballot. Some states have restrictions, and each state could have a different candidate on the ballot, so not a national unity. It could be a mess. There will be probably not enough time, 30-some days before the election, to reprint ballots, plus some states already started to vote early, and mail-in ballots have been shipped. So the name Donald Trump or Joe Biden would probably be on the ballot, no matter what the Republican Party, if the Republican candidate is elected, even after he dies, if it's the Republican Party's choice that becomes president. The second scenario, if it happens after the election, after November 3rd, but before the Electoral College vote on December 14th. Let me remind you, and also everybody listening to me outside the US that would forget about that. Let me remind you that this is not a popular vote kind of election. Americans actually vote to choose a representative to vote for a candidate when the Electoral College convenes December 14th this year. Should a candidate die before the Electoral College meets in December, the process to name a replacement would be the same as if it happens before Election Day. The party would decide a replacement. In some states, electors can actually vote, the great elector, this Electoral College, they can actually vote for the candidate of their choice, winner or loser in their state. They are not bound at all to the result. I know it's shocking, but let me repeat this. In most states, the electors are not legally bound to vote for the candidate who has won their state, even though that's what they do in practice. In other states, electors are legally bound to vote for the candidate that wins their state's election, but that shows the actual real power of the Electoral College. Some state law expressly provide that electors have the discretion in this situation. And if we still take the Trump incapacity, the potential Trump incapacity, Republican electors in the states would then most likely vote for the candidate the RNC had put forward to replace the president, or the DNC in case of a defect in the Democratic ticket. They are likely to be strong party loyalists if the parties have been careful about who ran as elector on their behalf, and they most likely did, but you never know. The Supreme Court has recently addressed this very issue. State laws that bind electors to vote for a candidate who has become incapacitated, they didn't resolve this problem. So it's a bit too late. The third scenario, if it happens after the vote of the Electoral College. If a candidate dies after the votes are cast by the Electoral College on December 14th and before Congress counted the ballots on January 6, 2021, the new Congress would have to make some decisions. Let me be clear. On December 14th, the Electoral College vote, it's secret, it's in a hidden box, nobody knows who they voted for, and on January 6th, the ballots are counted. There will be a huge suspense between December 14th and January 6th. Congress would have to decide if the votes made by the Electoral College are to be counted. If they are counted, then the vice president-elect would become president. If the Congress does not count the votes, the 12th Amendment will kick in, the amendment that allows for the House of Representatives to elect a president from among the three candidates, here there is only two candidates, who received the most vote in the election. The last scenario, if it happens after January 6th, after Congress has counted the vote from the Electoral College, if the candidate who has elected by the Electoral College and accepted by Congress, the rules of successions to the presidency would apply, and the vice president-elect would be the next president. These are scenarios that haven't been imagined by the founding fathers, and there are a lot of loopholes in the Constitution that could be open to interpretations. I would assume that there would be a lot of lawsuits in between, and that it might all end up at the Supreme Court. But either way, it shows that there is an urgent need to reform the Constitution. But for this to happen, there would need some congressional unity, and it's not likely to happen. I hope I gave you some clarity. It's not very easy about these different scenarios. It is complicated, but it could definitely happen. Let me know your thoughts. Please share on all the platforms. And if you have any questions, I will be very happy to respond to them. Again, my name is David Benaim, reporting from New York via Habs.tv. Be seeing you. Have a great and safe weekend.